So today I'm going to be doing something very special. You see this massive creative world in front of you, with all this stuff built in it. I've worked on this world for the past 2 years, with breaks in between obviously, but 2 years of building. Today I'm going to be showing half of it off to you, and the other half, well, I will have to wait till I film it. So let's go back to the house, which is the thing in the middle, because my whole design philosophy was that my house was always going to be in the center, and that everything built around it would either be in front of the house or behind the house. So part 1 is going to be everything on this side of the house, and part 2 is going to be everything on that side of the house. But of course, we are going to show you the house itself. So this is my house. It was the first ever thing I built in this world, and I actually don't think it looks that bad now. So we're going to fly around it. You can see I line it with peonies. There's a nice garden out back with all the plants in it. You can see some of the other buildings around it very nicely, which I always enjoy. So you go in here, and we have a nice balcony. You can have a seat down here, have a view over the land, same thing on the other side, and then you walk inside, and it's a hallway. You can either go left, which is this very nice enchanting / reading room. If you go through here, this is my bedroom with a nice map of the whole world that's not been updated. If you go through here, this is my living room with a nice couch and TV with stairs that go downstairs. But first, there is also my kitchen, which is fairly straightforward. But now, if we go downstairs, jump down the stairs, don't need to walk. Once again, a nice hallway with, on this side first, there's a nice little nature room with some animals in a nice pond down here. Like we got Pickleberry and Jerry, and there were a lot of other ones, but I don't think they're here anymore. But yeah, it's just like a nice sanctuary under the house that's not going to get like built on, so I'll always have like a nice calm area to go back to. This area used to be very walled in. So there was a wall here with like a doorway. This used to be a wall that didn't have a hole in it, and it was pretty boring. It was just a room with an aquarium with fish in it, which I obviously have gotten rid of, or they've despawned. And over here, this is leading to my other part of the house, which you will probably see in part 2, since it's on the back of my house. I used to use these to teleport. They're just command blocks with a button in front of it, so if I ever wanted to go to my doghouse, I'll just click the button and put me there. And over here, we have this nice little bench sanctuary area. Got some nice water fountains, painting. Just a nice area that leads into here. And this is just like a sewer system with a minecart rail. And this sewer system leads all the way down to somewhere that you'll see later. And for my house, aside from the garden out back, which I'll show you real quick, I believe that is all that is in my house. So if we go up here and go out the back door, which are the same as those ones, you'll see we got another nice deck to look off of, as well as all our crops, which are just like regular old carrots and potatoes, sugarcane, pumpkins, all that kind of stuff, just growing out here in a nice little field. Alright, let's move on to the next thing, which is, I guess we'll go straight line. This is my stage, which is a campsite stage right now. And if you look, there's a nice seating area, and you got a nice giant wooden block of a stage that you could put on like a play. And if you go up here, you're gonna notice these concrete powder blocks with random faces on it. And that is because there was actually a glitch early on in my world, because these used to be dogs. But there was a glitch early on, like I already said, where they all become untamed and you couldn't tame them again. So they all wandered off into the world, probably like really thousands of blocks in one of these directions. And I decided instead of getting new dogs, I would just make dogs out of blocks. So I thought it'd be funny. Also with the stage, if you go back here, there's a little VIP only section, where if you go down here, there's a nice little room that you can get, like, put your makeup on, get props and stuff. So yeah. So next door to the stage, you have this ice cream parlor, which was another very early thing I built. And the first thing you're going to notice is that there's a bunch of seating outside. And it's just basically wooden seats with carpets on it, but the different colors add some character in my opinion. And if you go down here, actually, it's a little freezer where you can store all the ice cream. Because if you look in here, it says cones, and it's just sandstone, because that's the best that you can do. And then here, there's a freezer, where it's just supposed to be a bunch of strawberry ice cream, with heavy quotation marks around that. There's a chest with chicken in it for some reason. You don't question that. Then if you go up here, and into the ice cream parlor, since it is one of the earlier things I built, it is extremely basic. Look, it doesn't even have like a creative name, it's just ice cream parlor. It's just a desk with an employees only area up here, which is just like bookshelves and a stair, I believe, yeah, break room. With no lights either, so. It's not impressive. It's probably one of my least favorite builds because it's not anything special. But it's here. And this right here is my barn. Another very early thing I built, but I think this one holds up a bit more than something, say, like the ice cream parlor. Because it's very simple. It's just a red barn with crops and animals inside. Ooh, some of them are actually still in here. See, I haven't been in these areas since I first built them, so I'm surprised myself of what I'm going to find in there. Oh yeah, and before I forget, next door to the barn is this giant water crystal thing, which is just an indoor pool. If you go inside, it's just a couple hot tubs with soul sand and magma cream, respectively, that send you up or down. And then in here, you get a nice little diving board and a pool. It's pretty cool. They added the ability to put ladders in there without the air block, so I took advantage of that when they added that. And yeah, that's that. So up next, we're going to go over here with my Capture the Wool, I believe it's called. Yeah, and this was the very first thing I built besides my house in the world. And it's just a 2-player minigame. Back here, there was a failed class system that I never finished where you get like certain classes depending on what you picked. The idea was made later in a different thing I'll show you in the next episode. But if you go through here, it's the same on both sides. Basically, it's a bunch of random stuff. But you'd get a shears, a wooden sword, a shield, a bow, basic supplies, and you'd have to fight the other person, or if they die, they'd have to quickly respawn and get new stuff. Well, you have to go with your shears into the other person's castle and steal their wool. And this castle, or not the castle, I'm sorry, you have to go there and steal the wool. And this could be used as like a leverage point. It's also the respawn room. So yeah, that's pretty simple and nice, in my opinion. If we go this way now, you will see that we have a house that I built just because I wanted to have a nice house. And initially it wasn't going to be a house. I was initially going to build a supermarket. But then I was like, no, I didn't like the idea. So I was like, I'm just going to make it a pretty fancy house. See, we got this stuff. There's a nice outdoor area with a hot tub pool. I'm not quite sure which one it's supposed to be. If you go in here with the weird door, you got this nice living room with the underwater floor and a pattern, kind of shaped like an eye, actually. It's kind of weird. Yeah, I got a giant TV and giant couch. So it's a very fancy house. It's probably fancier than my house, so I should probably move in here. Go through here, there's a nice kitchen. Some very nice views of some buildings I'll show you later, as well as a giant table and a giant kitchen. Then through here, it's a little bedroom. And there used to be a minecart going around here, like this. But I think I got rid of it because it makes a lot of noise and it was annoying. So anyways, this is my giant Peep roller coaster, and it's exactly what it sounds like. You basically go up the back of it, entrance, and then you ride on what seems to be this cute little roller coaster, but the twist I did at the time was where if you ride it, it actually gets like super dark and scary. So you ride it normally. Now what's supposed to happen is the pistons pull out the blocks. You go here, it looks like it's broken. And then you drop down here, and you're like, whoa, this is pretty scary. And there's like signs saying like you shouldn't be here. Yeah. Basically you have to go down here, in this very dark room that I don't even think you can see on the camera. You go down here, and then you come up here, which on the actual Peep says employees only. So behind the giant Peep, we have Don's house. And Don used to be a donkey that I had, but just like the glitch that I said detamed all the wolves and like cats in my world, it also detamed the donkey, and he ran off somewhere. So this is where he used to live. If he ever comes back, I will put him back in. You see, you got some nice treats down there. Nice bed for him, made out of hay. More hay. And he also has a little garden in the house. But with these very early builds, I like to make them pretty small and compact, but have a lot of detail. So with like the houses and stuff, I'd always do the garden outside and the little thing. Nowadays with the houses I build, I don't so much do gardens anymore, but it was an older thing I did. So this castle right here that you probably see is one of my least favorite builds because it's a parkour castle. And you're like, what's wrong with a parkour castle? It's just parkour. And yeah, it is, but the thing is, it actually doesn't work. See, at the end, if I was good, I could have done that. You're supposed to do the slime block ladder, or like staircase, but you actually can't. And I've never bothered to change it. But the way it was supposed to work is that two people would go on opposite sides and race up, and the first one to get up wins. So I was thinking maybe in the future I would build something that's kind of like a remake of this, like I've done with several other buildings in the past, which you'll see later as well. I'm going to fly now because that also makes it go faster. And this right here is my nether portal room. Another early thing I built, because I don't like it anymore, it kind of has a simple design with like lava and fire, and you go inside and it's literally just nether portals. Like all this lava was added later because it was just such a basic house before. So not much to see there. And this as well. This is actually another broken thing. It's supposed to be a tunnel of love, like you see in like the movies and stuff, where it's a giant pink heart and people would go through it to the end of a boat. And it was supposed to be that. It does work for the beginning if I got a boat out. You'd see I'd go down here and I'd swim. But then you get to here and you realize, oh wait, oh no, never mind. They fixed it. You used to be able to not go up ramps like this. So I was going to say, it's actually broken. But hey, it's not. That's cool actually. See, I discover new things every day as well. So up here we have another house that I built. This one has like nice gardens outside and stuff. Which all the houses I've built in this world are just so much nicer than my house, which is a bit sad, but it's also kind of cool because I'm not taking the nicest house. Same thing with the earlier builds. There's a nice outside area, which I don't so much do anymore with the houses I build, but you've probably heard me say that too many times to count. It's another simple house. You go inside, there's the same basic rooms. You got the living room, you have probably the bedroom, yeah, the bedroom, kitchen, I would guess. Oh no, at least the downstairs. This is the kitchen. Yeah, it's a lot smaller and compact than the other ones now. Here. I'm sorry if I'm running too fast. I'm going to try and slow it down so you can get nice views of everything. Because I might be running too fast for you guys to see anything. Go down here, and it leads you to an entrance that I don't remember doing. But apparently you can exit through a lake that's next door. Which I'll show you while I'm here. It's just a nice little lake. Not much to say there. I just had a big open spot, and I was like, I don't know what to do with this, so I'm going to build a lake. Okay, back to the house. There's an enchanting room. A lot of similarities to my house, if you can tell. Oh, and since this is a super flat world, the world's only 4 blocks long. And so this is where I first discovered to do glass on the bottom of the world. It gives you a cool pattern. In here, it's supposed to be like a secrets room, I'm pretty sure, where you just put like valuables and all that. In here, I think it's supposed to be an office. Yeah, this is supposed to be your chair with the computer. I don't know why I put all this random stuff on the desk. It looks a bit cluttered to me. And then through here, it's actually a bathroom. So you got your toilet in the corner, which is going to shut on me. And then a shower over here. It's supposed to be like a door, but it doesn't really look like one. I'm going to fly out of here so we don't waste too much time on everything, because I don't want this video to be an hour long. So we go through here. And let's go back to some of these buildings. So this giant rainbow here is just a general store. So it's called Rainbow Town. Very creative, I know. And you go inside, and it's just this huge area with like mine carts that are supposed to be, yep, doing that the whole time. And then you got these sections that are like food, housewares, toys, and clearance. And basically in these aisles is just a bunch of items that fit the category. So like here is tools, so you'd find all these tools that you'd buy at a general store like this. Over here is a nice counter, as well as back here is a nice storage room for all the items with empty chests. Then there's a ladder up here so that you can actually, the employees could actually just ride in the minecarts if they wanted to. So yeah, it was one of the first big buildings I ever did in the world, and I think it still holds up, aside from the fact that the rainbow is wonky, but it drives me crazy, but I don't think it looks that bad. So next up, you'll notice this is a recreation of a village. I did this to mimic the one I did behind my house, which you've yet to see because that's going to be in the next part. And it's supposed to be like the newer style village. So like all of these houses I've copied block from other worlds just by rebuilding it. So I think it looks pretty good and natural. But I don't know. Maybe, I think if I did it now, I'd replace it with something else because I think it was a bad spot to do it in. This right here initially was supposed to be like my island resort. Like you'd go in here and back out. There'd be like a little thingy out here, resort area. But now if you go in, it's my doghouse. So these are my dogs. Death Rider, Matthew, Cosmo, Fluffy Jr., Rose, Summer, Snowball, Rainbow, and Barry. And then over here, for cats, there's Cat 2, Cookie, Shadow, Grace, Blaze, Melon Slice, Daisy, and Velvet. And they're all here, somewhere. Some of them are scattered around the world doing various jobs. But yeah, just a nice place for them to hang out. So next up, this is another house I built. I know you've seen a lot of those so far. And this one is interesting because it was when they first added all the new nether materials. So I first saw this blackstone bricks and I was like, I need to make a cool castle out of it. So yeah, you got this nice little sunroof up here. It's going to be the same basic buildings or rooms that you've seen so far. So there's the living room. Back here, there's the bedroom. Back here's a nice little water fountain and backyard. Fly back over to the front, and there's probably a dining room and kitchen, and another office. So yeah, I start looping, or redoing a lot of these ideas in different houses, just because it's like the general ideas that look good. We'll go next door. This is Trident Toss. So basically how this game is supposed to work, and I know it's not working right now, but you go in here, and it's a 2-player game, and these blocks are supposed to be on a redstone timer. So they're constantly pushing up and down. It's disabled because, once again, it's very annoying. And you're supposed to shoot all the non-existent minecarts that are here right now. But yeah, all these rails are supposed to have minecarts on them. Some of them even have minecart with chests on them. And you get double points if you shoot those. You go back out after each player's turn and see how many minecarts you shot, and that's how many points you get. Pretty simple game. It's also pretty fun. Next up, we have the Summer Igloo, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's to match this giant snowman I built. I was like, hey, let's build an igloo, but let's make it, like, funny by making it a summer resort. So you go in here, there's, like, campfire and huge lights and sand. I thought it was funny at the time, not so much anymore, but it's here now. Can't really do anything about it. Speaking of giant snowman, this is one of my favorite things in the world, because it's just, like, it looks so good now. It was one of the earlier things I built, too. And I know you're not going to like hearing this, but it is a house. It's, what was it? Tim's house? Tim was a snow golem that I had. I don't think he's in here anymore. Just like a lot of the creatures, he's wandered off across the world. So yeah, I don't need to describe these rooms every time. You get a basic gist of what they are. That one's a shop. It's a bit different than that. The bedroom's inside that. So moving on. Across the street from the snowman, we have a nice petting zoo, which is shaped to be like a giant tree bush kind of thing, where it's like, you go inside and you see all the animals, you see the sheep, an empty cage where there used to be a bunch of dogs, a lot of chickens, bunnies, cows, pigs, basically the animals you'd expect to see in a parrot for some reason. All the animals you'd expect to see at a petting zoo. You'd let your kids in here with these very well-trained animals and they would pet it or whatever. Once again, earlier build. All this stuff near my house. So the farther you get away from my house, the more new the buildings are. So this right here is a dog race course. So basically you would take your dog, stand it up, and then you'd run through here slowly. So you'd have to wait for it to catch up. You go through this, over the tunnel. And then this is supposed to be on a redstone timer. Okay, it doesn't work right now, but it would constantly flick up and then have to get over it. All the dog's times are recorded here. Do we want to do the Wizen Whirl? Yeah, let's do the Wizen Whirl. So the Wizen Whirl is a giant old wooden roller coaster. And basically, it takes you up here. Actually, I'm just going to ride it. There's no point in not riding it. So you go up the like crankety old wooden roller coaster. It's supposed to be like shaking beneath you. And then you go and there's all this cool stuff to see. And the main theme of this one is that everything is lit up. So if you go at it during the night. Everything here is super blown up. It's all illuminated in the night. During the day, it also looks good, but not as good. So yeah, it was like the first big thing I did. When I built it, all the surrounding buildings weren't quite there yet. It was like really out into far into the world. So it was pretty substantial at the time. Not so much anymore because I built bigger things, but it's still here. I like it. Alright, so that's leading into behind the house territory, so we're going to quickly fly back into in the house territory over here. This is not a very interesting building to me. It's my brewing tower. Basically, you go up here, and there's this nice little red carpet entrance. Go up the scaffolding or the ladder, and up here, it's just a bunch of brewing stands and stuff. So it's not that interesting. It does give a pretty good view of the rest of the world, but there are better views that you'll see in later videos. Go down here, and the next building we have is another house. I tend to build a lot of houses. I didn't really notice until I was doing a tour of it. Up here, this is supposed to be a lake house. So it's a very small interior, as you just saw quickly. But when you go down here, it's over a giant man-made lake. And there's a nice little backyard area and stuff, and it's pretty cool. We'll stop back here. This is one of the newer things I built, actually. It's my Fancy Nancy restaurant, and it's just using the new Blackstone bricks that were in the new update when it came out, because that's when I built this. Go in here, and it's this just fancy restaurant. There's lava under here. Go out here, more outdoor eating. I like it, but that's probably just because I built it recently. Like, you got the bathrooms, men, woman, baby's pet, you know, what you need in a restaurant. Then you go through here, and you see this kitchen, which is where all the food is made. This giant oven. Go out here, and you follow the path, and it leads you to a nice little employee sitting area, where you could sit and relax with the other employees. Hear the people on the roller coaster going by really fast. Hear the screams of the people at that thing. And then also a roller coaster next door, which I will show you now. So the roller coaster next door is easily the biggest thing I've ever built in this world. And I can't describe it to you without riding it, because it's just, look at this thing. Look, you know how much time it took just to build those corridors alone, let alone the inside of it? Too much time. It wasn't worth it. I mean, it looks good. I'm glad of the way it came out, but I don't think it was worth all that time I put into it. So I'm going to be quiet, and I'm going to let you enjoy the scenery. Oh, and you can't quite make it up at the end. So yeah, it's one of my more favorite things I built, just because of how much time I put into it, and how good at least I think it looks. But the roller coaster inside, it was basically supposed to be theming, so it was like water, lava, water, and then it takes you through like what you do in a Minecraft world. So you start off in a cave, you go through it, you find the amethyst geode, you get lava, you go to the nether, you'd kill the ghasts, and then you'd go back to the overworld, and then it brings you back to the start. So I think that's pretty cool. We did miss a few buildings here that I'm going to show you now. So starting with this one, this is my coffee shop, and it's supposed to be a giant coffee mug. which is supposed to be a match to the giant book next door, which I'll show you in a minute. So you go in here, and it's supposed to be all jungly because that's where you get the cocoa beans to make the chocolate. You go down here to get the beans, and it's just a bunch of beans growing on the wall. There's probably a bunch of beans in the chest. No, there's not, but you get the point. It's pretty simple, but it's effective, and I like it. Shut the door behind us. Oh yeah, and there's a little garden next door I almost forgot to show you. Sorry, my iPad was about to die. Yeah, there's a little garden next door, and it's just garden with like little seats and stuff to where you can sit and drink your coffee. And this is the bookshop, which was dedicated to my cat, Willow, who sadly died in a fire. It's very sad. And in the inside, there's a nice chandelier up top. You got the layers of the books on it. You got all the books on the wall, nice garden outside. It's pretty simple library. And actually, it was a remake of an old library that I realized I forgot to show you. So if I go ahead and fly all the way back over here, you might notice this little hill that I forgot to show you. And that's because this is like the third thing I ever built in the world, and it's just a library, but it's like hidden, so you look at it and you're like, huh, that's just a hill. And then you go in it and it's like, nope, it's actually a library. So that's pretty cool. One last thing I'm going to show you before I have to cut because my camera's going to die is this giant paper building, which is supposed to be off like the papers you use in school, where like there's the top of it, the line, and then there's the individual lined. And fittingly, it's office supplies. And you go in here and they sell books and pencils and papers and all that kind of stuff you'd expect to see at a office supply store like Staples or something. I'm going to have to cut really quick. Bear with me for 1 second. Alright, sorry about the cut. We're going to continue the tour now. We go over here, and there's this giant natural mountain looking area with water pouring onto it. And the water, before I show you what the mountain is, it's actually coming from a swimming pool, where it kind of doubles functions. So the swimming pool is where I first used glazed terracotta to make cool designs. And I think it looks decent. And of course up here, my lifeguard Matthew, to make sure nobody's drowning in the swimming pool, keeping everybody safe, like a good boy. Over here, we'll fly really quickly and not waste your time. This is actually parkour, which is a pun because it's parkour with ore. Basically, it's this natural looking mountain. You jump on the oars, get to the top. There's checkpoints, like in here, there's ladders where you put it down on the mob spawner. And then continue, and then you get up here, and you cross the finish line, and it's like, yay, you did it, congratulations. It's actually one of my favorite buildings. It's very simple and effective, and I think it works very well, sorry. If we fly quickly this way, because we're actually done with that way, this is my airport. And it's a very complex design with concrete, but I actually don't think it looks that bad. That building, you see the green one over there? I'm going to have a rant about that one in a minute. But the airport, I think, looks good. Inside, I definitely need some work. It's basically just a desk that says tickets, boarding. Go out here, and then you see this giant airplane. And it's kind of badly done, not going to lie. But you go in, there's this little boarding thing that they have at airplanes. You go in, sit down next to a window, and then before I built this stupid tree in front of it, it was a nice clear runway where you could fly off and travel to other places. Also on the back, really quick, I will show you, there's a nice little suitcase storage area. So it's just a nice attention to detail there. We're going to skip the zoo for now because that'll be the last thing because it's just so big. Treetop Memories is basically just to remember everything I've done in this world. So you go in here and there's like a soup kitchen where people make you the soup and you're supposed to eat with like big groups of people and just remember all the times you've had. This back here is just some nice fountains I've built to remember some of the pets I've had in the world. And up here, there's a nice little upstairs seating area with a nice little leaf seating area where you go up here and there's just seating in the leaves. It goes all the way around. It's the same thing all around. I don't think you need to see all of it. And then if we head back out, I believe the next thing I built is my helicopter thing, which is just a clone of the the airplane thing, but this is when I was having no creative fluids to build things in my worlds. So it's like, you know what, I still want to build in here, but I don't know what. So I was like, I'm just going to build that again. And it is one of the ugliest, worst looking things in my world. I don't even think I finished it. I was so upset with it. Yeah, it's just empty. Go here. There's a pretty okay looking helicopter. And it's like, yeah, okay. It wasn't worth wasting this much land in my world, though. I'm probably not going to get rid of it. But I just don't like it. So next up we have my pumpkin pie eating place. It's themed after a pumpkin, like guy with top hat. And this was actually built last Halloween, not this one. So it's been here for a while. And you got this nice little seating area with pumpkins. There's pumpkin pie there. Go outside really quickly. And if you can get through the iron door, that is. Don't know why I struggle so much with that. With a missing block, always good. There's everything you need for pumpkin pie, so there used to be chickens in there. It's the sugar cane for sugar, the wheat for wheat, and the pumpkin for pumpkin pie, and all sorts. Let's go back real quick, because I think we missed a couple things. So this is my Funky V3 radio station. It's currently not finished. I built this a long time ago, never finished it. As you can see, it's pitch black. I might finish it one day. I have no interest to at the moment, though. And this is actually a battle arena I built. And it's for 2 players, each of with like stone swords, a shield, and iron armor. Basically, you go and just fight it out. There's these platforms you run up. There's some trapdoors you can go down to get advantage. There's secret tunnels. Some places even have boxes like this where you can get advantage, like flint, steel, and arrows. So it's pretty cool. I've never actually used it yet, though. And if you go up there, there's a TP. And it's like random TP on the map. Or push. And then you go up there, and it puts you into prison, which is always fun. You just gotta go down here. But it like the text on the screen makes your opponents know that you pushed a button and they know where to go after you. This is just another trap with like arrows and lava and stuff. So yeah, that's that. We'll come back to that as well. And if we go here, this is my park. And my park is just a heart around it. And you're gonna be like, wow, that heart looks familiar. And that's because this is the actual original prototype for the heart. It's just made out of stone bricks. And I was like, you know what? Instead of getting rid of it, I'm just going to make a nice lake around it. And then I was like, let's just make this thing a whole park. And that's what I did. And it was one of like the first like nature things I ever did. And I think it looks decent. So next door to that, we have this kind of useless area. It's literally just this white looking building with an empty field out here. Don't know why I built it. It looks alright. Not going to get rid of it. And then the final thing before we're going on back of the house territory is this, which is my Funtime Party House. One of the very earliest things I've ever built. So it's very empty, and the redstone works up there, but it doesn't work on the floor anymore. Basically, it would just do random patterns with minecart spinning around on activator rails. Got the DJ over here, another one over there. It's simple. I don't really like it, but it's here. Alright, I think it's time to show you this, which is another one of my favorite things in the world, because it's a roller coaster, but it's shaped like a grass block with a rose on top of it. And once again, just with the other big one, I'm going to show you it in pretty much silence, just so you can take in the scenery, instead of listening to my voice. And this actually is pretty cool, because it's a replica of my room, and like the city outside. So I always thought that was cool when I built it. Takes you out here. You get rid of the minecart, go down here, close the gate behind you, and there's this little exit area. Or if you come down here, you go out here. And there's some stuff around here I'm going to show you real quick. This is just a pond. There was extra room, and I was like, hey, I'll build a pond. This right here is the first thing I built with the Caves and Cliff update. It's called the Rusty Bucket, and the point is it was supposed to rust. It's doing a lot slower than I thought it would. And you go in here, and basically it's just shop for all the new blocks and old blocks that they've made in the game. You go up here, there's like chests and furnace where you can smelt it. Yep, there's chests that have actually like stuff in them, unlike older buildings. Bad example. And then there's furnaces over there where you can smelt it. Go down here, And there's actually, this is one of the coolest things I've ever done. So initially I wasn't going to do this, I was just going to do the building. But halfway through I was like, what if I built it so where the minerals came from right next door? And it's just this super cool cave with like ores scattered around, you got pickaxe chests. I don't know, but I'm really proud of this, and I'm really happy with how it came out, so that's my opinion on that. This right here is a little dog garden I built from one of my early dogs, Dorman. Because like I said earlier in the video, there was a glitch where all the dogs became untamed and untamable, which I will show you quickly right now. So if you look, the bone doesn't work on Dorman. Like, I'm hitting the right trigger, and it's not working. So yeah, but I actually found him. You see that cobblestone box over there? That's why I initially encased him and minecarted him all the way over here where I built a nice garden for him. So it's nice to know that he came back, and we built him a nice place for him to stay. Over here, we'll get all this stuff done. This is the newest thing I've built at the moment, and it's just a sheep shop. So you go inside, and there's this funky pattern on the walls. There's all the stuff you need, nice shop. There's actual sheep with rainbow colors, and then a dye dispenser with some funky banners on top. You get the green one, you get green. Cyan one, you get cyan. Pretty simple. Although, the main thing I like about it is that this giant sheep, like, it's been splattered on the ground, like you can see the legs and stuff. And actually, here's a fun fact, that's a nice tail on it. That was a detail I probably didn't need to include. That's just an early prototype of that, and same with that. So behind the sheep face, there's this egg, and this was built around Easter time. And basically, I found a bunny. His name is General Hops. Let's see if I can find him. He has a name tag. He's one of the black bunnies. Of course, he's going to be the last one I look at, isn't it? One of these around here. He's here, trust me. And basically, it's supposed to be like the Easter bunnies that are laying eggs. But actually, it's all a ruse. Because if you go down here, you're like, Easter eggs. Wow, that's a lot of eggs. And the secret is that if I really quick break the thing open, it's not Easter bunnies at all. It's a bunch of chickens in the middle laying eggs. So that was pretty cool when I built it. Let's do the giant command block first. So giant command block is actually uneven on purpose. The actual command block model, if you looked it up, is uncentered like that. And it's on purpose, apparently. And it's just a redstone shop. Basically, back here, even though it's already activated, there's a lever, which is how you get in. Because if you listen, you hear the pistons going off. And that's them opening again. And it's pretty cool. You go in here, there's like stuff like this that used to work, and then it started getting really annoying because it's constantly pistons being pushed up and down. You go up here with the water, and then there's just like a shop where you can buy all the random redstone equipment. So it's simple, cool. I like the design of it. And actually the ceiling is actually made out of crafting tables instead of wood. That was a little nice thing that I added as a detail. Go down here, and behind this is just a huge natural arch. And you may remember earlier in the video, I showed you about the pipe under my house, the sewer. This is where that leads, so it leads you to the other side of town. Look, it's the same thing. You can ride a roller coaster through it, and the same thing happens. But yeah, above it, I just built this huge natural arch, which looks really good, not to pat myself on the back or anything. And it's another natural thing I built. It's a common theme I have in a lot of these buildings back here, but I think it turned out pretty good. So we're going to go to my absolute favorite building in the world, which is my museum. And just look at this. It's all funky with the quartz, the diorite, the new white stone, I can't remember. Basically, you go in here, and it's just like little props I've got from all my earlier buildings in the world. Which, since I haven't shown you them yet, it won't have the same effect. But for me, this was really fun to make. Like, all this stuff has significant meaning that maybe at the end, I'll come back and I'll explain it all to you. But yeah. Over here, there's a working vending machine where you get food or water. Wait, a fire resistance potion. Got a little soda, I guess. And then there's a working elevator where if you press 2, it brings you to floor 2. And there's all this stuff in here, including some bigger displays that I've made. So, I'll come back here at the end and show it to you if I remember. Go back to floor 1. It's basically just a history museum, and that's really cool to me that I was able to build that. So this is definitely leaning towards the other side of town, but since I'm here, I'm going to show you it anyway. Biomes. I recreated all the vanilla biomes in Minecraft, aside from like desert hills and stuff. But basic biomes, like those are nether biomes I'll show you in a minute. But there's desert, there's taiga, forest, beach/ocean, snow biome, ice spikes, mushroom island, swamp, savanna, roofed forest, jungle, and mesa. And I even did the nether ones in the new update. So I'm gonna go through here, and all the nether portals I've built in the world have linked up. So they're gonna lead me to some other things that you haven't seen yet. But if you follow this more biomes thing, fly through the wall of lava, all the way through here, and you go to this nice building, you notice that there's all these biomes here. There's the basalt, the normal one, warped forest, crimson forest, soul sand valley, and then you're like stronghold, which is glitched out. Oh, never mind. What's actually cool is there's a bastion right there. But yeah, you go through here, and you're like, the sign says question mark. You don't know what it is. And you're like, oh, it's supposed to be an end portal. You drop in, go through here, and you're like, whoa, it's dark. And that's because it put me in the wrong place. I'm not supposed to be here yet. If we just quickly break through the wall, nobody will notice. Yeah, so right here, it's supposed to bring you here. You're supposed to get with night vision. And you go up here, and it's just the end. And it's one of the cooler things I've built. Like all the biomes in vanilla Minecraft. And I think that's pretty cool. Then you're supposed to go down here. And then you're supposed to drop down here and go in. But the other portals have linked up there. And that's kind of annoying. But and then you have to walk all the way back. So we're going to cut. And I'll see you when I'm back at the town. 3 things left to show you. And the first one is a big one. So this is the most recent thing I've built. That's not the sheep. Like the most recent big thing I've built. And if you go through here. And it's supposed to be this jungly area, and that's because you go inside, and you see my dog, Barry, and Velvet, and a parrot, and it's just all the mobs. So you're like pig, sheep, cows, rabbits, cats and ocelots. Like, I did every mob in the game. Llamas, goats, horses, and donkeys, I think I said. This is wolves. Over here we have, fly a little bit faster through these, polar bears, foxes, parrots, mushrooms. We have iron golems, snow golems, which there are no snow golems. Now through here, there's bees with filled up beehives, that's kind of cool, and pandas. And if you go downstairs, that's not it, because if you go downstairs, you're like, oh wait, never mind, sorry, almost forgot, bats are here too. And over here, there's villagers. Yep. But when you go downstairs, bat thing continues. Then there's zombie villagers with a flipped upside down house. And it's all the hostile mobs now. Which, since I'm on peaceful, aren't here. But it's supposed to be like creepers and spiders. And I put the items that they drop, every single one, linked up on the Minecraft wiki. So this is zombies and skeletons. Zombies can drop that. Skeletons can drop that. So forth. Then there's like husks and strays, and cave spiders are over here. That's endermite and enderman. No, that's enderman and endermite. That is silverfish. This is shulkers. This over here, we've already done those. Guardians and elder guardians. Phantoms, I believe, which is just a bed. Yep. Zombie horse and skeleton horse. We have slime. Vindicator and Vex, and then Witch over here, I believe. Nope, that is drowned. Oh, Witch is back here. Witch and then Pillagers, that's right. And then that's not all. We also, once again, are going to the Nether. And that's because I put all the Nether mobs in here too. So, every single mob, except for one, which I'm going to see if you guys can figure it out, is in this, in the zoo. So you follow this minecart this time, with the same theming of the lava on the side. That was coincidental. Go up here, and then same sort of buildings last time, except for you arrive here, and it's like, oh, it's the same thing. So zombified piglins here. Then we have piglin, hoglin, zoglin, and also on this one, I even added the spawn eggs, which is cool. Random piglin brute, don't hurt me. There's magma cubes and a strider, which actually went in there accidentally, I remember that. This is ghasts. We have wither skeletons, as well as blazes, and then piglin brute and piglins. And down here, I just naturally connected it to the nether, because I thought it looked cool. And that's it for that. I have two smaller things to show you. I'm not going to cut the video this time because I hate your happiness and enjoyment. And we're going to fly back to the spawn area and go show you the last two buildings I have. On the first side. Remember, this is only half. So, the next half will come whenever I film it. This should hopefully be going up, if I get it edited in time, the day before Christmas Eve. So, Merry Christmas, everybody. And over here, to finish everything off, right next to the Wizard World, we have this, which is a watchtower. The second watchtower built. Once again, I know I've said this a lot. You'll see the other one next time. But you climb up here from the top, or from the bottom, sorry. Then you're supposed to climb this all the way up, and halfway up, if I can stop at the door. Yep, right here, because you can see the brick stairs. There's a nice viewing area. I meant to put seats down here, never did. It's a really good view. Really good view. Go up here, and then you get an even better view, because you're on top of the whole world at this point. So you can get a view of what we're going to see next time, as well as a view of what we did just now. Okay, and the last thing I want to show you is actually what I'm currently building, and that's just pumpkin. And it's a giant pumpkin for a reason, and that's because it's kind of like a horror game in a way. So you come in here, and there's going to be one guy who has like a netherite sword, netherite gear, and there's going to be one guy that has nothing. And that guy has to run in here, and pitch black, you have to turn your brightness all the way down, and you have to run through this area. There's certain areas I've built, like this jail, and there's a little water fountain over here, where there's a secret entrance underneath it, like with a trapdoor. And then there's a giant woods that's hard to navigate through. So it's all in the survivor's favor, but you have to survive for a decent amount of time, because it's a score-based system, so whoever survives the longest wins. Obviously I haven't finished it yet, because it's going to be a castle, like a ruined castle, a hedge mage, and then like a house, similar to my own. Alright, I believe that is everything I wanted to show you in part 1.